Welcome to Morning Rounds, Stony Brook Medicine's video series, where we engage in candid conversations with Stony Brook Medicine colleagues on key initiatives, institutional updates, and expert insights on critical topics. Stony Brook Medicine has recently launched a state-of-the-art clinical trials unit facility that will expand opportunities for innovative research that enhances quality patient care. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Susan Hedayati, Vice Dean for Research at the Renaissance School of Medicine, to learn more about the unit, its goals, and how it supports our mission to transform lives through discovery, education, and healthcare. Dr. Hedayati herself is a nephrologist and an NIH-funded physician scientist with enormous experience spearheading her own investigator-initiated clinical trials. So, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get started. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today.
So, tell us a little bit about, your own journey to becoming an expert in clinical trials and nephrology research. How did you get to where your career has led you?
So believe it or not, before engaging in clinical research, I was actually bound to become a bench researcher.
Mm-hmm.
I did some basic science research in a ABSL3 laboratory at the NIH during 2 summers between years of medical school, and I was actually in Tony Fauci's lab.
Wow.
I was going to become an immunologist, but then when he would take us on rounds in Building 10 on the clinical trials ward on AIDS patients, that's where my love of clinical investigation really started to blossom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a residency at Duke University, and there we were basically taught to practice evidence-based medicine. So our program director at the time, the late Ralph Corey, would say, show me the data for managing all of our patients. So that really reinforced my love of trying to find the right answer and the right treatments for different diseases through the evidence, which is really through clinical trials.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And what drew you to nephrology as an area?
As a nephrologist, you are not only the primary care doctor for your patient, but also a subspecialist. And of course, I loved renal physiology. So I wanted to take care of my patient as a whole.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the clinical trials unit, if we can. Tell us a little bit about, for those who may not be familiar with it, what's the purpose of a clinical trials unit? And why is it important to put it in an ambulatory setting like COMAC, where it is?
Yes, of course. So a clinical trials unit basically allows our team to be able to help clinician educators and investigators enroll patients into research studies that are trying to assess the safety and efficacy of therapies for diseases that are novel, to find the right answer for cutting-edge treatments. And basically, it's a one-stop shop unit where we help bring in sponsored clinical trials, whether they're NIH-sponsored or industry-sponsored. From the very beginning, we help the investigator negotiate the budget, implement the trial, do the patient study visits, draw the laboratory work, and ship it to the sponsor, and even report adverse events and be able to close out the study. So very busy clinician educators that are otherwise seeing their own patients get that support that they need so that we can bring more cutting-edge innovative therapies to our patients here at Stony Brook and beyond.
That's great. So it sounds like this is a big step in making it easier for our faculty to become involved in clinical research because it's right where they're practicing.
Definitely. And we actually have had a unit, a clinical trials unit or CTU in East Setauket on 33 Research Way. That one has 4 exam rooms. It's very small. This one actually is very large. It's a 6,000 square foot facility. It has 12 exam or consult rooms, and it's actually within the community, outreach community in Comac, so that when patients come to see subspecialists for their care or their primary care physician, they can also go to the adjacent clinical trials unit and participate in those studies.
That's great. And of course, I had the privilege of seeing it on Monday, a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And it really is just a beautifully designed, very smartly designed and beautifully decorated unit. I think it'll make patients feel very comfortable knowing that they're engaged in something that's going to help themselves and other people in an environment that really seems relaxing and calm. And
Yes, we've tried to make the environment very, very inspirational. When you go into the waiting area, we have a wall art that has the words healing through innovation etched into glass, translated into 10 different languages that are endemic to our patient population here on the island.
right.
So it's very inviting for people to see, that message in their own language. And then we actually have medical student artwork displayed throughout the hallways of the clinic, just to try to emphasize the art of medicine and how patients, by enrolling into clinical trials, can allow us to use innovation to be able to find new ways to treat their diseases and heal them. So that's kind of the message.
Yeah, it's a great message. And I was quite impressed with the talent of our students who created that art that is, that's highlighted in the new clinical trials unit. And of course, I always think about, what do you need to be a great artist? Well, you need to have a different perspective that's somehow novel. You need to have a lot of fine detail skills, and you need to be an excellent observer. And all of those things are also skills that you need in medicine as well. And for a clinical trials unit, you need to have that different perspective to be able to ask, well, why is this? What if we try this? What if we try that intervention and really make a difference in people's lives?
Definitely. The idea of creativity really plays a role, of course, in research and clinical trials.
Right. Now, what about we have community physicians, we have physicians at other sites besides Comac. What does this mean in terms of their ability to participate in clinical research?
So with the launch of the Comac Clinical Trials Unit, we also launched our website. We already had a website, but we've really, really transformed it to make it very user-friendly, not only for our investigators to fill out a proposal intake form and notify our team when a sponsor approaches them for a research study so that we can help them with implementing that trial, but also for industry sponsors. We have another platform, so it gives them information. And then for patients, we've made it very user-friendly so that patients can actually access our database, and if they want to volunteer, put in their information. They can also search for different types of trials that would fit into the disease process that they are concerned about and want to participate in that trial.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way that our physicians, patients, and sponsors can get engaged in trials. We are also hoping, in addition to Comac, to build another clinical trials unit in the years to come at Lake Grove, which is another advanced specialty care clinic for our Stony Brook medicine patients.
Great. Oh, that's wonderful. And it's great that that website is going to be available to both clinicians and patients, so that if people are interested in participating in the process themselves as, part of the trials, then they can really.
Yes, we really hope to be able to bring the best, the newest studies to Stony Brook and Long Island for patients to participate in, so that they don't have to necessarily, go into the city to partake in some of these cutting-edge treatments, and they're able to receive treatments that they would otherwise not be able to receive outside of a trial setting.
That's great. And I think it fits in nicely with everything else that we're trying to do to make sure people understand that whether it's primary care or the most complicated specialty quaternary care, they can get it right here
Yes.
Stony Brook Medicine.
Yes.
One of the key goals of the clinical trials unit is improving the access that patients have to participate in clinical trials. You mentioned the website, of course, that patients can sign up. How else will it improve access for the people that we serve?
Well, we have a very large patient population that seek their care at the COMAC subspecialty care clinic. So right now, if they want to participate in clinical trials, they would have to drive another 30 minutes almost to Stony Brook Hospital or the unit we have in East Setauket. But this will allow them to not have to do that and be able to just do their study visits right there in COMAC.
Great. So it's an easier commute.
Easier access, yes.
That's great. How would you say, I think some people are a little bit concerned about participating in a clinical trial. What sorts of things do you tell people to make them feel comfortable with the idea of participating as subjects in a research trial rather than, say, get a conventional therapy that's already been demonstrated to help them for whatever is going on with them?
So in the waiting area at COMAC, we will have a TV screen that basically when the patients are waiting to be seen, actually goes over what is the definition of a clinical trial. This is also on our website, how you can participate, what are your options to seek treatment within a trial versus outside of a trial using standard of care, and also that participation is voluntary. The patients can withdraw at any time. The staff is always available to answer questions. We feel like getting this message out to the patients via our website and also within the clinic, this is what they go through during the informed consent, will make them feel more comfortable. We're really all about patient safety, and our team's main goal is to be able to implement trials in the most ethical and safe manner to serve our patient population.
That's great. Now, when you're seeing your own patients, is this something that comes up, that you're offering a trial to somebody and they express some reservations? Oh, Dr. Hedayati, I'm not sure I want to be experimented on.
Definitely. But this is how we're going to help patients. The other way that I make the patients feel comfortable about participating in trials is that even if the study may not personally help them, which in a lot of cases it might, based on what arm of the treatment they're randomized to, it will help us find cures that will help patients like them in the future. Right. So that really inspires a lot of patients to want to participate in studies.
Great. Well, thank you. I think that's helpful also for all of our clinicians when they have the opportunity to see somebody who might be eligible for a trial and how to help counsel them about what the opportunities are, what the risks and benefits might be.
Yeah, I think we want to get to a point where every single patient that touches our healthcare system is a potential participant in a trial. That's what I envision for SBM in the near future.
I think that's a very powerful vision. What do you see as the goals for the clinical trials unit over the first year or two?
Currently, we're actually a leader in the SUNY academic system as we harbor a good 35% of all the clinical trials within SUNY. And we really want to substantially and significantly increase that number by, building the infrastructure, which is one of the reasons we opened the COMAC Clinical Trials Unit.
Great.
So more trials, more new trials, and also increase accrual in the trials that we already have. We're also wanting to apply for an NIH grant to be able to make our institution a National Cancer Institute designated cancer center. And one way we need to do that is to increase our accrual in cancer trials.
Yes, absolutely. I know that that's a key component of our efforts to get NCI designation
Yes.
for our cancer centers. So again, very important. And how do these goals for the clinical trial unit align with the goals for Stony Brook Medicine, really for the whole university?
I mean, one of the academic missions here, as any other academic institution, is research and, of course, patient care, and the other is teaching. And I believe that engaging in clinical trials as a community will pretty much address all of those three missions. You know, for patients, when they realize that we have state-of-the-art, cutting-edge, innovative therapies offered here at Stony Brook, that will hopefully increase our patient base and our outreach in the community to bring more patients to Stony Brook. For clinician educators and investigators, this will allow them to participate in scholarly activity and research that they otherwise would not. It'll also help their own personal promotion in their career track. And hopefully engagement in some of these trials would encourage them to design their own investigator-initiated, NIH-funded trials. And of course, it's an opportunity to be able to train our new generation of learners in research and innovation.
That's great. What are the things that you most look forward to in terms of advances or breakthroughs that might come out of our clinical trials unit?
You know, right now, there are certain areas that we're really strong here at Stony Brook in research that include healthy aging, Alzheimer's disease, mental illness such as schizophrenia and depression, cardiovascular disease and kidney diseases. And we hope to be able to bolster those areas of research and become known as one of the major academic centers locally, as well as regionally, and maybe hopefully someday nationally in clinical research.
Great. Well, I support that, and I would add internationally, globally, right?
Of course.
You might as well think big. And how else, you mentioned the website, are there any other ways that clinicians or patients or community members can learn more about the clinical trials unit?
Our phase 2 project is actually to try to use some social media platforms to engage the patient community as well as physicians. For my own NIH-funded clinical trial, I'm using that platform, and it really helps get the word out there for a specific trial. For example, this is really an interesting idea where when patients are searching keywords, on the internet, then it draws them and shows them a trial that they can actually participate in that addresses their concerns and their disease process.
Oh, that's great. And of course, they can watch this video.
Yes.
What's the biggest takeaway that you'd like people to remember from this conversation about the new clinical trials unit?
I think the main message I want to get out to our physician and patient community is that we have really bolstered our clinical trials infrastructure here at Stony Brook, and we have a whole team that will help you engage in clinical trials. Even if you are a very busy clinician or don't have a working knowledge on how to get engaged, please reach out to us through our website, and we will help you engage in clinical trials and also help you with your patient accrual into these very innovative, cutting-edge studies.
I think that's a great message and something I know that I was looking for many years earlier in my career, and delighted that you've been able to achieve it. And I look forward to more successes and hearing wonderful results from clinical trials that are done right here at Stony Brook. Well, that about wraps up today's episode. Dr. Hedayati, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your leadership in advancing Stony Brook Medicine's mission through this exciting new resource. And to all members of the Stony Brook Medicine community, thank you for your continued dedication to discovery, education, and the highest quality patient care. Until next time, keep the coffee brewing and innovation flowing at Stony Brook Medicine.